I'll keep it simple. Simple octopus salad. So first of all, if it's not already cleaned, you need to clean the octopus. Start by removing the beak. Here we go. Then I cut out the eyes. Then I empty the head and remove everything that's inside. And then I rinse it under running water. After rinsing the octopus, I dip it into boiling water 4 times. Then I add a bit of dry white wine and let it cook for 30 minutes. While the octopus is cooking, I prepare the dressing. So, in the mini blender cup, I put the parsley stems, a small piece of extra virgin olive oil, some lemon juice, then I add a bit of pepper and blend.
Perfect. Now I strain the sauce to remove the parsley stem fibers.
You see, I put it in the fridge, and since the octopus is cooked, I turn off the heat and let it cool in its water for about an hour. If you don't have all this time, at least let it cool for 30 minutes. Very good. The octopus has cooled down. I cut the tentacles into large pieces, and I also cut the head into pieces. I transfer it into a container. Add salt, parsley, the sauce, and mix with a spoon. I transfer it to a baking dish or a serving plate. I add green olives, lupini beans, a bit more parsley, and a few slices of lemon to garnish. And here it is. Look how beautiful it is. Let's take a look. My rice, potatoes, and mussels, or potatoes, rice, and mussels. It doesn't really matter. Prepare this delight with me. Let's get started. So, first of all, after peeling them, I slice the potatoes, cut them all up, and rinse them well until the water becomes nice and clear. Now I slice the onion and then rinse them well until the water becomes nice and clear. Now I slice the onion and then I chop it up a bit and then put the potatoes in a container. I add the onions, then I add the peeled tomatoes, a bit of salt, a bit of pepper, a drizzle of oil, and a little bit of garlic. To finish, I add a bit of parsley. I go wash my hands and mix everything together, crushing the peeled tomatoes. Okay, now, after cleaning and removing the beard, I pry the mussels open while they're still raw. I do it like this, sliding a little and using force with my index finger and thumb. One shell on top of the other, and in the space that forms, I insert the knife and open them simply without using the blade. Then, once I get to this point, I detach the meat. And here you have all the mussels opened. By slightly overlapping the potatoes, I make a first layer. Then I add plenty of pecorino cheese, a little bit of parsley, another drizzle of oil, a few pieces of San Marzano tomato and onions. Then I arrange the mussels. If some of them don't fit with the shell, remove the shell and place them like I did here in the empty spaces. Then I add a little bit of pepper. This is optional. Here. Or pecorino, parsley, a drizzle of oil, then I add the rice. Now I put the other potatoes, the remaining tomatoes and onions. Then I put the leftover tomatoes and onions from the bottom of the container. Plenty of pecorino, parsley. Then on the sides I pour water until it reaches the height of the potatoes. Here we go. I put the remaining pecorino on the sides, a bit of parsley, and another drizzle of oil. I put it in the oven and cook it at 90 degrees in fan mode for a little over an hour. Make sure the oven is already nice and hot. And here it is after about an hour and 10 minutes. I let it cool in the oven for 3 hours. Let's see, oh my, look at this. I'll taste it like this. Oh my favorite fried shrimp and calamari. Follow these tips to make it super crispy. Let's get started. So, first of all, you need to clean the fish. I start with the calamari. I remove the head, take out the insides, then from the inside I remove the quill. I turn the calamari inside out completely and remove everything inside. Then I turn it back and take off the skin. Now let's move on to the head. I remove. By squeezing the beak, I take out the eyes and set them aside. Very good. Now I remove the fins, which I split in half, and I cut the calamari into rings. As for the heads, I simply cut them in half. As for the shrimp, I leave the heads on, but you can remove them if you want. So I remove the shell, take off the legs and leave the last 1 or 2 segments so that the tail stays on. Then I gently cut along the back with a knife and pull out the vein. First from the head side downwards, and then from the tail side downwards. By the way, let me remind you that my 2 cookbooks are available only on Amazon worldwide. Just search for Carlo Gaiano and you'll get them within 2 days. Very well. Once they're all cleaned, I rinse them thoroughly under cold running water. Okay. Now, in a container, I put the 00 flour, sift it, then I add the semolina, mix it well, and then little by little I coat the fish in the semolina and flour mix. Then I shake off the excess flour well, and without overlapping them too much, I place the pieces on a tray. Perfect. Hot oil. See how it fries? I fry just a few pieces at a time. So far, it's holding up. Look when the oil is nice and hot. It's not even 30 seconds since I put them in. Here we go. A minute and a half, and the calamari are done. I start frying a couple of shrimp at a time, shaking them again before putting them in the oil. Here they are. They only need to cook for a very short time. Now I add salt, a bit of pepper, and a little squeeze of lemon. Oh my, now let's take a look at the calamari. Oh my, you can't stop at just one. These sweet and sour carrots are a great side dish for meat and fish. And not only that, let's make them together. Let's get started. So first of all, I remove the ends of the carrots. Then I peel them. Then I cut them in half and then again in half lengthwise, trying to be more or less precise. Otherwise, the texture will be different. They will turn out differently. After that, I put them in boiling water and cook them for at least 7 or 8 minutes. Very well, when the carrots are almost ready, I melt the butter in a saucepan. Then, once it's melted, I transfer the carrots, making sure to drain them well. I cook them for a few moments, stirring in the butter so they absorb the flavor a bit. Then I add the sugar, either granulated or brown, both are fine. I stir. After that, I deglaze with vinegar. I leave it on high heat and let it evaporate uncovered. Here we go. We are almost there. Now I add salt to taste. I give it a quick stir. And I can already serve. Here we go. Perfect. Now I'll add a bit of thyme or a bit of sage. Let's see. Look at how nicely it's browned. Oh my!
This lemon-baked amberjack in foil is something exceptional. Make it with me, it's really easy.
Let's get started. So, after removing the scales, gutting it and cleaning it well as rinsing the amberjack, I dry it inside and out by patting it with paper towels. Then, on the shallow baking tray, I place some sheets of aluminum foil, arrange the parchment paper on top, and put the amberjack on the paper. At the level of the gills, I place a halved clove of garlic. In the belly, I add a pinch of salt, a little bit of pepper, a few slices of lemon, a drizzle of oil if you like, a nice sprig of rosemary. On top of the fish, I put a few more slices of lemon, another sprig of rosemary, and another drizzle of oil. After that, I close it. I put it in the oven, and in a preheated oven, I cook it at 180 degrees C with the fan on for 30 minutes, or at 190 degrees Celsius in conventional mode. While the fish is cooking in the mini blender cup, I put some extra virgin olive oil, the lemon juice filtered with a strainer, a little bit of garlic, parsley, a pinch of salt, a pinch of pepper, then I blend it and set it aside. And here it is. Now I clean it, plate it, put a bit of the sauce I made earlier on top. and taste it with you. Oh my, roasted peppers my way will drive you crazy. If you don't believe it, make them with me. Let's get started. So after washing the peppers, I roast them over a very hot flame for 5 to 6 minutes on each side. While the peppers are cooking, I pit the olives. Perfect. Once I've pitted them all, here they are. They've cooked for about 20 minutes. Now I cover them and let them cool down. This way it will be much easier to clean and peel them. Perfect. Now while they're still a bit warm, I peel them. See how easily the skin comes off. Okay, once the peppers are cleaned and peeled, I shred them like this. I make strips in a very simple way. If you can't manage to do it, just cut them with a knife. Once they're all shredded, they should be seasoned, but instead I do it like this. Oil in the pan, add a little bit of garlic, then I put in the capers and some anchovies in oil. And I let it saute for a couple of minutes. Okay, now I add the peppers. I season with a little salt. I add the olives and cook for 3 to 4 minutes on a nice high flame, stirring often. Okay, now I turn off the heat. Add parsley and a bit of basil if you like. One last stir and I plate it up. Let's see. Oh my, enough talking. Let's start cooking because these mussels with tomato are delicious. Make them with me. Let's get started. So first I chop some parsley, then I cut the garlic cloves in half. He removed the core from the inside, then I cut a chili pepper, and then I cut the cherry tomatoes in half. And at this point I put some extra virgin olive oil in a nice large pan. Add the garlic cloves, the chili pepper, let them saute a bit, then I add the cherry tomatoes. Add the tomato puree and let it cook on low heat for 10 to 12 minutes in the meantime in a pot. Put the mussels in, obviously already cleaned and with the beard removed, cover with the lid, leave on high heat and wait 4 to 5 minutes for them to open. Perfect. Once they've opened, I remove half of the shell from about half of the mussels. So basically I leave half of the mussels with half a shell and I completely shell the other half. This way they fit more easily into the pan. Then I strain the liquid and after straining it again, I add it to the sauce, maybe not all of it, but a good part, and I let it cook over a slightly higher heat for about 4 or 5 minutes. Okay, now I add the shelled mussels. Then I arrange all the mussels on the half shell. Then I let it cook for a couple of minutes, still over medium-low heat. Then I turn it off and add the parsley. And look at this. What a show. I'll taste one with you. Oh my, you make it in a pan and it's really easy. Make this pineapple cake with me. Let's get started. So first I break the eggs into a bowl, then I add the sugar and beat them with a whisk. Very good. Now I add the milk, the oil or melted butter, and beat again. Okay. Now I add the baking powder, the vanilla, the flour that I sift, and then I mix with a spatula. Very good. I've got a smooth mixture. I set it aside for a moment, and since I'll have 2 slices of pineapple left over, I cut them into rather small pieces. Add them to the mixture. Give it a quick stir, and then with a bit of butter, I butter the pan. Now I add a bit of sugar, making sure it sticks to the edges as well. Then I pour in the mixture, level it out a bit, and then starting from the center, I place the pineapple slices. Then I put it on the stove, turn it on and set it to a very low flame but on the large burner. Cover it with the lid and let it cook for 50 minutes perfect. After 50 minutes I turn off the heat. use a spatula to check if it's stuck. Then I take a lid and flip it over like an omelette. Here it is. I turn the heat back on to the lowest setting under the pan, and without covering it, I let it cook for another 6 or 7 minutes. Here it is. Now some powdered sugar. I cut a piece and taste it with you.
Let's
See. Oh my.